Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good day to each and everyone. So today we will continue our discussion for our final coverage. No? So this is ES12, and then our topic for today for this final coverage is all about complex numbers. Okay, so just um just be sure to study this because I noticed that some of you is actually have their failing grades on their midterm, no? So as well as in mid prelim. So this would be your last chance for you to be able to pass this course, or else, no? I think uh, you would be um failed, no, for this course. Okay, so by the way, that's just actually informing you that this is just a easy part of our um coverage, no? So don't um disregard yourselves to uh for for having the failing grades, no, kasi this is your chance, no, for you to be able to have your passing grades in this course. Okay, so now, so as I have mentioned, no, I will just have to discuss the examples, and then I will let you to read the manuals that I have posted, you know. And then if you have any questions regarding on these topics, regarding on these examples, no, that you might not have understand, you will just ask it to me, and then inshallah we will entertain it. Okay, so now, so example dito sa example number 1, no. So basically example number one only talks about the addition, no, addition and multiplication of um addition and multiplication of um um complex numbers. Okay, so sabi dito, given that z1 is equals to 8 plus 3i and z2 is equals to 9 minus 2i, find z1 plus z2 for letter A, and for letter B, z1 multiplied by z2. Okay, so again, we have here a different steps. For step number one, we have used the expression of 2. So what is expression of 2? Expression for 2 is from your manuals, no? From your manuals, expression 2 is this one. Okay, this one, this expression. So just refer on this part for you to be able to answer that one for these steps. Okay, for these steps, for step number 1, we have z1 plus z2, or we have x sub 1 y sub 1. This is for the coordinate of first complex number, and plus x2 y x sub 2 y sub 2. This is also the coordinates of second complex number. Okay, so we'll let this to be designated by x1 for your information, and y1, it is because for us to be able to represent this complex number, or we call this one as rectangular numbers, no. So we are plotting them in x and y coordinate, where x is this one and y is this one. Okay, but in here, instead, this y represent the imaginary part, and this x is the real parts. Okay, for rectangular coordinates, take note of that. Okay, so that's why in here we let the coordinate of individual complex number by x and y. Okay, so yun, so we have x1 y1 plus x2 y2. Okay, or from this given, we have 8 at saka 3. So yun, 8 and 3, the coordinate of the first complex number, and then 9 and negative 2, the coordinate of the second complex number. Okay, so step number 2. So for step number 2, convert this to the standard notation, z is equals to x plus iy, or z is equals to z is equals to x plus imaginary multiplied by y. Okay, so converting this one into this form, okay, or complex number standard notation, we have z1 plus z2 is equals to x1 plus iy1 plus x2 plus iy2, okay, or 8 plus 3i plus 9 minus 2i. Okay, so step number 3, we have group the real numbers and the imaginary numbers together and perform the addition. Okay, so we have to group the real and imaginary numbers. Why? Because we cannot add the real and imaginary. Okay, take note, we cannot add. That's why the standard notation is x plus I y. Okay, bakit? Kasi you cannot add this x and y, so that's why the standard notation is cannot be reduced into the addition of this x and y, no? So it is just x plus I y lang. Okay, so in this case, no, since we are about to add the same part or the same coordinates, we have to regroup those real and imaginary part. Okay, so the real of this first is 8, and the real of this second is 9, so we have to group it here, 8 plus 9, and the imaginary part of this first complex number is 3, and the imaginary part of the second complex number is negative 2, so we have in here 3 minus 2 I. So therefore 8 plus 9 is 17, and 3 minus 2 is 1, okay, or I lang. Okay, now for letter B, we have to find the multiplication or the product of these two complex number or rectangular numbers. Okay, so we have, by the way, we are calling this as a complex number. Kung meron tayong real part and imaginary part of a certain number, we call that one as a complex number. Okay, so for letter B, for us to be able to find the product of these two complex number, for step number 1, you have used the expression of 3. So what is 3? Okay, the expression 3 I mean is this one. Okay, from our manuals, this one. Okay, this z1 and z2. Okay, x1 y1 x2 y2. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so in here, z1 z2 is equals to x1 y1 multiplied by x2 y2, and again this is in a point coordinate notation. Okay, just like this in sa taas. Okay, and then the standard notation, or for us to be able to perform this multiplication of real and imaginary parts, we have x1 and x2 minus y1 and y2 for real parts, and x1 y2 plus x2 y1 for imaginary parts. Okay, so convert this na naman. Okay, this part here, convert this into a standard notation na z is equals to x plus iy. Okay, ang mangyayari is we have this one, no? So nagkaroon na tayo ng I and I. So yun lang, parehas lang dito sa taas. Okay, and then no, in here, since this is the real part, so in here i-add lang natin siya dito. So plus, and since this is the imaginary part, nilagyan lang natin dito ng I, then x1 y2 plus x2 y1, or rewriting this one. Okay, so now substituting the value 8 plus 3i, so as we have given here. Okay, and then 9 minus 2i as it given here, then substituting the value here sa final expression na to. Take note that dito siya nanggaling to siya, formula to siya, actually standard formula for multiplication of a complex number. So nanggaling to siya sa manuals natin. So all I have to do is to substitute the value. X1 is this one, x1, x2 is this one. Okay, the real part of the second complex number, then y1 is the imaginary part of the first complex number, which is 3, and then y2 is the imaginary part of the second complex number, which is negative 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so just substitute the value. Take note that this is x1 y1 x2 and y2, so substitute it here, then perform the multiplication and addition, then you let this final answer na 66 plus 11i. Okay, so that yun lang actually, no, ito lang yung gagawin nyo, itong formula lang actually, and then ito siya, itong formula na to is galing lang yun siya sa manuals natin.